Hello and welcome back to part two of Riveting TV's Newbie Nights, where we're talking about skills, perks, and equipment. In part one, we covered the basics of what each skill do and some skills to take on your first, lower tanks. Yeah, the basics of what does what in a general sense. In part two, we're hoping to cover this in a bit more depth and what classes like assault tank or flanker, support tank, these sort of roles that you take and what you should pick with them. Because, well, it's hard to apply and it's hard to cover each individual tank, so it's hard to apply this knowledge to your tank specifically. In part three, we'll do lots of Q&A. So if you have a question about a certain tank or just something we're talking about tonight or even something completely different about water tanks, please let us know in the comments. We have moderators taking your questions all show long, okay? I'll be monitoring Twitter for our first giveaway competition. And don't worry, it's the only Twitter competition. So if you don't use Twitter, you don't care for Twitter, there'll be more chance for you to win. We also have other things like AirMech to give away. So don't worry about that. I'll go through it right at the end of the show. So if you don't win something from World of Tanks, maybe there'll be something for you on our other channel. Anyway, I'm Dorjan. And this is my second hat. What happened to the other hat, I hear you say? Well, it's not on my head. Anyway, right. There was a question on Twitter that I really, really liked, and I want to go through it now. Where is it? Okay. Someone asked the Panzer II. What skills should they put on that? Just the first skill. So what should they put in their Panzer II? High flyer.
Panzer II?
Yeah, we missed it. Apparently.
The smally one. Well, I showed it. Let's see. I'll just find it. Well, we mentioned it, I think. Yep. I've actually been a little bit nuts and picked the mentor skill on it. Well, I don't even know why, but actually, you could go with recon instead, because on low tiers you really don't have any view range at all. But on the radio dude, I've actually gone with the situational awareness. So the view range is being approved, and that's the point. In Himmelsdorf, you will get Himmelsdorf a lot, and you will also get what's it called? Province. Province, the smallest map in the entire game. And
Province, you love it.
I love it. Yeah, I do. But if you don't have a good view range, you won't be able to see across the canyon or the slope or whatever the silly thing is called. If you do have a very good view range, you will be able to spot all across the map, and you don't even have to move out, because you'll just sit there and wait for the enemy to move, and then just shoot from across the whole thing, the whole map. So I've put a situational awareness on that one, and after mentor I will be putting recon on the commander, because on such a small tank it doesn't really have to be, you don't have to go into a certain direction with it, because it's a slugfest. It's a slugfest on lower tiers. There's no real strategy or tactic, because you can't command players who've just started playing. They won't really know what you're talking about whenever they say go flying over here and stuff like that. So always assume that when you play low tiers, you're playing with new players. And yeah, that's why I haven't done anything specific other than view range, because view range is very important on small tiers.
Okay, now let's start going through the other tanks before we run out of time for tonight. Let's
definitely
think more of the supporting role. If you've got to get somewhere fast and you've got to support your slower, big, heavy tanks, and you're more of the tank that has to move around the side, plink away, and move back into cover, what sort of skill set will you take for that sort of tank?
Well, I will jump to the one of the requested tanks in the chat, which is the Hellcat, because the Hellcat is insanely fast. It's very low armored, and those two things combined really turn into a lot of, it's not suicides on purpose, but you think that you have to use that speed to go out there, find the enemy, damage them, and then they'll run away. But instead, you have to use the speed to get out there, to get to a position, and then use the recon for your entire team, so they know where the enemy is going. And well, in the Hellcat you do have a gun as well, which is good, so you can support whenever you've done your job. And I've actually chosen after Recon, or Recon is the second one, but before Recon I actually chose the Eagle Eye because this tank destroyer is really dangerous if it gets around you. If you let it circle you and either your turret is damaged, you've been ammo racked, or your engine is damaged, or your driver is dead. So many things come in. If you have the Eagle Eye on it and you can see what's directly damaged on your enemy, then you'll know exactly when you can move in and be that tank that you think that the Hellcat is, with that much firepower and speed. So I went with the Eagle Eye, even though there's the Recon is a little bit more important, but I just like to be offensive with this this Hellcat.
Eagle Eye. Someone's asking again, what does Eagle Eye do? So quickly sum that up, please.
Yes. Eagle Eye. It enables the commander to identify critically damaged modules on the targeted vehicle. Like if you shoot into the side of a Tiger or into the front of a Tiger, then there's a big chance that the engine will be damaged. You will either set it on fire or it will lose the engine, and then it will be very slow. And a very slow tank versus a very fast tank is a dead tank in most cases. So if you can see what's damaged on your tank, you have to hold your crosshair on top of a tank for, I think it's 3 to 5 seconds. I'm not sure completely, but then on top of the tank there will be icons underneath, just like you have icons down the left side of the screen. You will be able to see what is exactly damaged on the enemy tank. That is Eagle Eye.
Cool.
Yeah, and again with the rest of the skills, going for more view range for the fast tanks that can get out there and scout for your team, and then the rest are I would actually say optional. Apart from if you have very low traverse speed on your tank, not your gun. There's two different types of traverse speed. There's turret traverse speed, which is something you can't change at all, apart from getting from 50% to 100 on the actual cruise. But if you train the clutch braking, then you will be able to turn your tank a lot faster. You will increase your traverse speed, and that's one of the most important skills on slower tanks and also faster tanks, because then you can turn more fast. So yep.
Yeah, it's always helpful. I'm a med tank driver, and when you go against some of these new TDs that have insane speed and turning speeds, if you don't have these extra terrain skills, that's the clutch braking and the rough terrain skills, you cannot get around the side of them. You just can't, and they will just turn on a dime, keep their front armor to you, and you are dead meat. Never try and engage in one-on-one unless you've got a fully upgraded tank. They are crazy. So is that much to do with all the supporting tanks?
Well, the fast tanks that are kicking out there, it also applies to all of the medium light tanks, the scouts, the tier 5 scouts, Recon, and Sixth Sense, so you know when you've been spotted. I haven't gone for it on the Commander because I went for the Eagle Eye instead, the more offensive one, because then you know you're spotted. If you're going to take on a tank, then you know that you're spotted to the entire enemy team, so there's no point in choosing the Sixth Sense. That's more of the sneaky, I'm gonna sit in the bush and suddenly a light bulb, I gotta get out of there type of tank. So that's what I've chosen, and that's also the thing that I've got on my T50-2, the Sixth Sense, and on the, I think also I have it on my Chaffee, but not on the VK28. I don't know. Let's see. I don't think I have. No. I've chosen the Recon because, again, more view range is always good.
Your view range is always good. View range is one of the most important things in the game. If you've not seen the view range, what's it called, the mechanics video from WorldOfTanks.com on YouTube, go ahead and see it. It does explain it quite clearly. It's one of the better videos that they do there. Right, cool. Let's move on to the sort of sit back and snipe tanks. So we're talking about the Tiger, and we're talking about the most of the German line actually, and maybe some TDs.
Yeah, well, the Tiger, I drove the Tiger a lot when I before the skills were introduced. At the beginning, there was only repair, camouflage, and firefighting, and those were the ones you can pick. And I actually didn't drive the Tiger a lot, but I can say what I've put on it now. The most important ones, again, view range. And then again, for a sniper, if your gun gets taken out and you already used your repair kit on a track, not to get more severely damaged than you already were by going out into the open and pulling back, I've chosen the armor, which improves accuracy of a damaged gun. And
why did you choose that?
I choose that one because the Tiger is a sniper, just like the Panther. It relies heavily on its very good accuracy. Let's take a look at the accuracy. It's 0.34, which is very good. It's one of the lowest. The lowest we saw was 32, wasn't it? I think it was last time we went through the premium tanks, and it was actually on the Löwe.
Yeah, it was. It's. I think 31. I remember a 29. I do remember 29, but I couldn't find it, so I think it was either 32 or 31 that we found. But yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, that accuracy is something that is very important to the Tiger. If it loses that one, then you only have a tank that's a huge block of HP, and then you have to get really up close and really have to brawl. And if you get into a tier 8 battle, then you're not going to survive for very long. It is more of a support tank, just shooting from the back, sitting behind the bigger tanks that are pushing forward. So again, view range, just to be able to see the tanks if they're coming your way. And the gun, I chose that one, so yep, it'll help me if the gun gets taken out. If someone doesn't go for the, and there it goes again, and if they don't go for the lower plate, which will almost, it's very often that it gets set on fire, so that's very annoying. But most people also tend to aim for the gun, because if it gets broken, then the Tiger is practically useless. Well, he left. He left to go.
I didn't leave. I'm here.
You left. You left.
I had an emergency thing to do with. I'm back there.
Get a new hat.
No.
Oh, that's not an emergency. Okay, then I don't know what is.
Dude, no, the hat is still here. Okay, so we covered the snipers.
Yes.
And next would be, I'm guessing, we've done the harassment, the sort of support guys, we've done the sniping. So what about the assault? What's their first and primary skill?
Well, again, when the skills were introduced, you could get all of your previous skills like repair, firefighting, and camouflage changed back to just XP, so you could just put on whatever you like on your new tank. So I'm just gonna take my Löwe because that's the one I've been playing the most with, and it's really, some people say because of the huge accuracy it has, or the good accuracy it has, it has to stay back. But I've never played it as a sniper. I've always gone out to fight because I have 1650 HP. I'm going to fight. I will be fighting. So I've actually gone for the Eagle Eye again to know when the enemy has been damaged in the ammo rack or engine or something like that. I will be pushing, and the view range is 400. So I've chosen to wait with that one for my third skill, because it is a skill that adds to the view range as you progress. Unlike the Eagle Eye, which only comes in effect when you get 100%. So I would actually advise on some tanks that you pick a skill like repair that increases as you get more XP and percentage in it. And when you get to the second skill, you can then drop the skills and get a 100% skill from the beginning, like the Eagle Eye.
That's definitely a good tip to make. If you guys didn't know, all your skills are disabled if your skill training goes below 100%. So if you move your crew from one tank to the next, then retrain them without doing this, you actually have all your skills disabled until you get back up to 100%. So if you don't use the gold retraining, that could actually hurt you.
Yes. And well, on my other brawling crew members, I have well, you can make sure that your skills are in effect by the icon lighting up. As you can see on this preventative maintenance, it is charred off, like it's a little black, unlike the other icons which are fully lit. So that one will only come in effect when I reach 100. So choosing this skill is actually a bad idea for me, because I didn't read the description. So I chose that one, and then I played a little bit too much to drop all that XP, because it's a lot of XP to drop when it's on the third skill. As you can see on the gunner and on the radio operator, I've chosen repair as the third skill. And yeah, again, with the most precise gun on any premium tank, I've gone for the armor as the first skill, and then critical damage, the Deadeye, which increases the critical skills or critical hits on your enemy, and then just repair also on the radio man after view range, and the call for vengeance, which is a skill that enables you to transmit the tanks that are around you even if you're dead for a few seconds. And that's actually the brawling type, because you don't really need, when you're going into a fight, then you don't need to know when you've been spotted, because you're not just heading straight into the fight. You're going to cover, being the first there to push a little bit, then an enemy pops up, and then you know that you're spotted anyway. So there's no real reason to have the sixth sense, unless you're playing in an open field map in a Clan Wars battle. Then of course it is pretty good skill to have.
Yeah, it's also good for pubbies. So obviously you can't rely on your teammates if you're not in a team, proper team on voice comms and stuff like that. So yeah. Which tanks have we not covered now?
Tank destroyers. We've covered the fast ones. The Hellcat. Well, the tank destroyers are snipers again, apart from the
very similar to the sniper.
Yeah, and I actually have the same skills on the first skills are the same as on the Tiger, because it is a sniper. Yeah, very good accuracy. And then after that, I picked the more brawling type to add on to that, because if I don't snipe, then I'm going into the city to fight close range around corners and stuff like that. So yeah.
So okay, what about the GW Tiger or some big artillery? What are the skills you would use for artillery?
Artillery, which has a huge reload. I'm right now I'm training Brothers in Arms. Even if it doesn't give me anything straight off the bat, I don't need view range because I'm artillery. I'm sitting back. The allies are lighting people up, so I'm not. You shouldn't go for anything that tells you anything or lets you do stuff, because you're not going to be doing anything other than aiming. And Brothers in Arms is just like a vent. You get 5% extra percent to your already trained skills, like aiming and reloading and stuff like that. Polton asked the question and I just answered. This perk can also be more effective if you blend it with the chocolate or the rations or the case of cola and stuff like that. Yes, which you can only buy for gold right now.
Exactly. So you have vents, Brothers in Arms, and chocolate or whatever the bonus is, and you have an insanely good artillery piece. Anything to reduce the general performance, the reloading time for artillery and the aiming time is what you want to go for. So we haven't really talked about the equipment yet, and we're almost ready for part 3. So
yeah, well, this is really quick to go through, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Well,
Mr. Highflyer thinks he's got it. Let's time him, guys. Go.
Shut up. Okay, every single tank you ever buy, put on the gun rammer. It'll increase your reload time by 10%. Who doesn't want to reload faster? On artillery, always pick aiming speed, and other than that, you're free to go. Pick anything you'd like, because there's not really anything that helps you. The camo net, of course, will keep you hidden, but if you just stay still, then you will be hidden in the bushes. But camo net will always help, and you can
For
move
me,
that for
optics.
you.
If you're in a med, get optics.
Yeah, but now I'm talking about artillery. You see? Good. And on the scout, pick again. They fire really fast. You don't really need a gun rammer, but if you want to fire faster, of course you can do that. I always pick the like on the Chaffee. I've picked the. Oh, I haven't been able to afford it. I have put the vertical stabilizer on because I will be driving. I'm gonna put it on right now. I will be driving and shooting at the same time. So any fast tanks where you're going to be circling tanks, you don't want to suddenly be shooting suddenly over the top of them. So increases accuracy during movement and turret rotation. That helps both when you're sitting still and when you're moving. So that's a good one. Vents, if you can afford it, and you don't have anything else, you think, I need that, then put on vents. It's cheap, but on the bigger tanks it is a lot more expensive because, well, it is more expensive because you do increase your reload speed and stuff like that. On the Chaffee, I haven't chosen the optics because it already has a view range of 400, and going with the crew skills, recon, and situational awareness ups the view range to maximum. So there's no point in me putting on optics. But if you've gone with something else other than increased view range on your skills, then of course go with the optics because view range, go for it.
No, I wouldn't say binoculars is a must, Demir, because if you're not playing a passive scout, which a lot of people don't, then they're pointless. Go for optics instead.
Yeah, but again, if you want to move, if you have a few tanks that you do play like that, then go for. I made a mistake. Then go for the telescope. What's it called? Telescope, yeah, and then you can move it from tank to tank instead of buying it again and again. I used to do that with the camo net, and
So I need to interject. People are wondering about the codes. There'll be no more of the Control-C, Control-Vs. That was just to get the discussion started in the chat at the start. All the rest of the competitions will be me talking to you and announcing it ahead of time. So like with the Twitter, you can still go for that code now. If you haven't done that, go do it now. That'll be at the end of the show when I look at the Twitter feed, look for my favorite one and give a key away. The feedback on the forum is exactly the same. It's open until the end, and there's 2 more competitions going to come up. So stay tuned for that. No need to get all Control-C, Control-V, because that won't be happening. So sorry, Half-Life, continue, okay, please.
Yeah. Yep, I'll just answer the Riviak. There's no such putting my view range to maximum. If you watch the video we've talked about earlier with the spotting mechanics, you will hear that there's a maximum of, I think it's 440? 450 view range. So there is a maximum view range, and if I've already put my skills into the view range and stuff.
Wait. Before you keep going, I know you're going to walk into a trap right now. I think.
Do it.
If you're viewing someone with a high camo skill, you can maximum spot them at 450. Your view range could be 1,000. If they've got 50% camo, that means you still spot them at 450. If their camo value was at 75%, you would still spot them at like 360. So it is worth just maxing the actual try and view. That view cap is actually for actually spotting. So in an open field situation, you gain no advantage. But if you're looking at someone in a bush, you still gain the advantage.
Yes. We were talking about, I was just looking at my Chaffee, and the Chaffee, it is a tank where I just drive up to a bush, sit there, and wait for the tanks to come rolling. I'm not moving towards tanks that are hidden. That's suicide. I won't be doing that. So that's why I'm talking about the moving tanks. I'm not talking about the sitting in a bush, but of course that is correct if it's put like that. I apologize for any mistakes.
It's not really a mistake. I just didn't want to be unclear. Yeah.
I understand, and I understand your concern.
Equipment for, we've done scouts. Have we done meds yet? We haven't done meds.
No, well,
You
but
want me to do meds?
yeah, meds again. I've actually chosen the for the pattern, the ones that are light. I've chosen the Spall liner because of ramming. I've rammed so many tanks and just lost so much HP to that. So I've actually put that one on because I was tired of doing that. And then again, gun rammer, and then I've just chosen vents because I don't really drive and fire that much. I don't really need repair speed, 25 extra percent, but it is an awesome thing to buy if you really want to be able to just get out of those situations really fast. But I've got four repair skills at 100%, so I don't really need it. It really fixes itself really fast, and the view range is 410, which is a lot. So you could go for more, 10% view range up to a range of 500 meters, and then you would get 451. So that's a good one to pick. Yeah. But I'm just the brawler type with the meds, so in the cities and around stuff, which gives me protection. So seeing the enemy in that particular tank when I'm that high up in the tiers, then I practically know where the enemy will go. So yeah, based on experience, I've chosen that. But you can choose the Decoded Optics if you like the view range more.
If you're firing on the move a lot, then it does help you. It really does. Actually, I want to answer a question that's been put. Some questions, I'll answer this question about answering questions. There are questions I'm saving for the end. There's questions that I want to answer now because they're relevant. Torsion bars are interesting. I actually did an experiment of using the torsion bars to up the HP of the tracks. It does work. It gives you 50% extra HP for your tracks. However, once you're tracked, yeah, it does. It actually helps you. The KV-13 used to be a great medium tank, but it was very easy to track. And I put the torsion bars onto that to stop it getting tracked so easily. And it did help. But now that it's no longer a med tank, and it's just they ruined it. But still, torsion bars on your tracks can help. And I can't remember exactly what the disadvantage is. I believe it's the rate of repair. It takes longer to repair the tracks because they have more HP. I don't think it works on percentage. So... it's also a slot, and if you get tracked that much, having general repair skills is usually enough.
Yeah, that's good. Also, the wet ammo rack, of course, choose that one if you're in a tank that is prone to get ammo rack. But don't just listen to people. Like when I get my T-44, I won't just be putting a wet ammo rack on it immediately. I will buy it when I'm blown up or hitting the ammo rack a lot. But again, there's other equipment stuff that you can put on, like like other stuff. But it's a good thing to go for if you already know. If a whole the whole forum is talking about how this tank always gets ammo rack, like on the E4. The E4 I just got, it gets ammo racked so easily. I haven't bought the wet ammo rack because it's 600,000 right now, and I'm not that fat on cash right now. And the E5 as well also gets ammo racked insanely easy. So a wet ammo rack is something that I've put on my Christmas list. So getting that, I hope.
Yeah, it's always interesting. I'm looking at the chat here, and they're talking about the IS-3 and the Type. I've actually got a lot of experience with these tanks, and also with the wet ammo rack and the ammo rack skill, the safe stowage. Now, this is something I will tell you, and it's something I think that's very important. When you first pick one of these tanks, like the IS-3 and like the T-44 and the Type 59, I would recommend it until you've learnt the tank. Because it's actually certain places, if you're shot, will get you ammo racked. However, once you've learnt the tank, pay attention to where you're getting ammo racked and just avoid showing these bits to the enemy. Once you've done that, after a very short period of time, you realize that you're not actually getting ammo racked anywhere near as much as you used to, and you'll rather use that slot or that skill for something else. It's definitely something to make the tank easier to play and easier to get used to. However, once you got used to it, you will think to yourself, okay, I'm going to remove this and put something else in it. Because if you pay attention, and that's if you pay attention, you'll realize that it's a certain side or a certain location that's constantly getting you ammo racked. Like you keep popping out the side of the building, showing your side, getting shot. Oh, I've been ammo racked again. learn that, okay, I need to go around the corner like this to show my front instead, because if I show my side, they're going to ammo rack me. And that's something you really need to pay attention to. It's small things like that, paying attention when you get ammo racked will really help you.
Yeah. Well, last time we were playing the, I think it was Platoon Night or something like that. I was driving with my Type, and the whole chat was just yelling at me, "Don't show your right side!" And I've been in to the 3D models thingy, and yep, the Type is very open to ammo racks on the right side, and of course in the back of the head. I've blown up a Type in right in that position actually with the VK36. Two Types, but no, 3 Types were fighting one of our Types and me, and they were only caring about the other Type, and I was just aiming for their back of their heads, and boop, killed one of them full HP, and the rest were already down to half HP. So we actually won that side just because I ammo racked one of them because he was careless.
Right. Okay. So I believe we've covered everything in part 2 that we were planning to cover in part 2. So in part 3, we'll go through your questions. So during the break, please spam your questions in the chat. Something we missed, something you're concerned about, an extra thing that you want to know, even if it's not just about skills, although we'll probably pick them questions over others if we don't have enough. So go ahead, start spamming your questions. In part 3, there'll be 2 more codes to give away, plus a few announcements at the end. So yeah, 1 code will be given away at the start of part 3. So don't go anywhere. Just grab your cups of tea and your drinks and go to the toilet and get back before the music ends, because 1 will happen immediately. Okay? Cool. Yep. See you in a few minutes.
Yes, I will. We will see you in a few minutes.
We will.